All right, good morning. Welcome back here to TraderMatic. Great to have you aboard. We're looking at a market this morning that's set to open fairly flat. We will see the NASDAQ open slightly higher, small caps open slightly lower, and the S&P pretty much with zero change here at the open. Now, I know that's not what futures look like, but when you take futures plus fair value, that's where the market is looking to open for those different groups. Now, you can see what futures have done here since yesterday, and we saw the market open, and we saw the drop, and then this pop here, and that was given up, and flush risk, kind of came in. When we see a pop and drop like that, the risk of further downside on that day increases. Now, we didn't see that risk realized. We saw the market climb on back and march on back, and then here around the lunchtime hour, at least for me, we saw the market really kind of take off and make a pretty sizable move to the upside. And this is one that I'm watching and I'm looking at and I'm a little skeptical of, but I don't have anything, overbought to a place where I said, man, this will be a great short. Don't have any topping volume. But it's when I wrote my note that I put into the message feed yesterday, just saying, look, when I look at this market and I look at it from an option standpoint, right? This isn't from a stock standpoint. This isn't from an investment standpoint, but just from an option trading standpoint, almost every chart looks similar. We have the U.S.-China trade talks this weekend, or whatever you want to call it, dinner with the Chinese premier. And the market really feels like it's a coin flip lotto going into that meeting, where if something positive comes out, then market's going to go up, something negative, market's going to go down. And it's hinging on that meeting. In the meantime, volatilities are compressing, and they're high, so compression risk is very high. So, is there a level of predictability based on charts, fundamentals, or any other tool to look and go, well, I can go set up a trade and have a decent expectation of being right or of making money on that trade? Yeah, there's some risk-reward scenarios that are decent, but even then, what's my reward with the volatility compression? And so I sat here at the close looking at it going, man, I hate going in cash, but that's what I kind of have to do given what the circumstances are. And these aren't normal circumstances. We don't see that, element very often where, I think you can look at the weekend events and say, hey, the next 60 points are probably hinged on it. I don't think the next long-term trend is hinged on what happens this weekend, but the next 60 points, yeah. And so looking at the market on that and going, man, okay, we're coming into the end of the month. What do we tend to see in bearish style markets? We tend to see the last day of the month is a selling. We see fund liquidations as fund managers get redemptions from clients who basically say, hey, get me out. And so they have to liquidate, and they tend to do that at the end of the month. And so that comes into play. And so expecting some of that here, but also not expecting so much that I look at puts and go, wow, these are just great value and great bargain here, in the market. So I decided to stay in cash. We did see the market slide into the close. The last hour was pretty much all sell all time there. And, we saw overnight futures pretty stable. Nothing too much until Europe, and then we just see this slow drift down. And then we get this pop back up. And, so we're going to have a lot of speculation about what happens this weekend. Analyst commentary about what happens this weekend. A lot of people speculating and saying, well, this is going to happen or that's going to happen. Obviously, nobody knows exactly what will happen. It is one of those classified as a geopolitical event. And, so we're going to hear a lot, from that is going to create reactions here. We saw a 10-point reaction here to the upside. Now, as we go into next week, we're not only going to see the trade talks, but we are going to see front-end month economic data. The market pays attention to data. I know it's not something that is, glamorous to talk about or to look at, and a lot of traders are like, yawn, snooze. The market watches the data. The market's concerned about the data. The data has a significant impact on trend. The data is what defines trend. The news and the blips here and where's Trump having lunch and what's going on here and there, that doesn't have a hill of beans to do with anything except short-term volatility. The data drives long-term trends. And, as we come into the front end here of December, the concern has been that data is showing economic growth, but that growth is slowing. And if we continue to see that be the case in the data, December will be a rough month. If not, we'll see a little bit of Santa Claus rally, right? And, I've already given you my take on Santa Claus rally. Any rally at this time of year is called a Santa Claus rally. So if the market goes up, everyone will call it a Santa Claus rally. If it goes down, nobody will call it anything. I don't see anything historic that you can look at and go, oh, well, we're right here, so we're going to have a Santa Claus rally. It's, to me, very coincidental and very... just one of those kind of nomenclature things more than anything that has value or tradable, out there in the market. So, I look at this morning's open and it's a flat open. And so compression's going to happen within more options here. They are going to get a little bit cheaper overall. I'm going to be looking for an opportunity to play things lower going into the close. But I'm not going to be looking to hold much over the weekend, right? That's just not. This is one of those where, normally I don't really care about the events over the weekend, and they're just like the events over any night of holding something. So I don't take that into account. But this weekend I think it's just a little bit different. And this weekend I don't know what to expect out of the meeting. It is something where. You look, I think both parties are incentivized to come up with a deal and to come up with something positive, but neither party is desperate. Neither party is sitting there saying, well, if I don't come up with a deal, I'm in a bad spot here, here, and here. Which makes it so that this could drag out even longer, so that a deal may not happen. And, it's just one of those things where when you look at the incentives of both parties, I don't think it's something that can be predicted based on those incentives, because the incentives for them are, yes, they both are positively motivated to come up with something, but neither are in any sort of desperate situation. And that leaves for a much more uncertain outcome, here with that. And so anyway, it will provide some nice fireworks next week. And I suspect we will have a lot of movement here next week in the market. And we'll be looking forward to that. But here this morning, I'm going to be looking for an opportunity to play things lower into the close. What does that mean? That means if we rally early and get some topping volume, I'll look to use that. If not, I'll probably wait until a little bit later on and late in the morning and go, okay, you know what? Do I have some sort of signal? And if I have a signal, I will look to take it and run with it. There are a lot of stocks out there like IBM, that I was forced out of yesterday, and it's a stock that ultimately closed on the low side, with the 7-hour breakage here. But, it's something where I would like to still be a buyer of IBM. The overall technicals are still positive. But, in the short term, breaking on down. If we start to see some of these charts like the IBMs of the world, which are 80% of the charts out there, if we start to see some of these turn around here today, I will take a look at them and go, okay, you know what? Do I have a chance to play this? But I don't think the chart will mean a whole lot going into this weekend, meaning, it'll be one of those where if the technicals are bullish and the stocks pop on Monday, technicians are going to say, see, the technical indicator showed you. If the technical indicators are bullish and the stocks drop on Monday, technical analysts will say, see, when it comes to news-based events, they trump the charts, right? It's always one or the other story, right? So in terms of how do you deal with that and use that in real time, I think you have to just understand and assess that risk and know that it exists, it's real. Yes, there's nothing wrong with jumping in and saying, hey, you know what, I want to be involved, but you have to understand that, come Monday morning, you could be talking about a big gap up or a big gap down, and it has nothing to do with anything that you were analyzing on Friday. And I think that'll be the case here. And, so that leaves me a little more apt to be in cash, but, a little biased to the downside going into the weekend. And so I will take a look at that as things progress here. Not a lot in terms of news that I look at and go, wow, there's something really major out there this morning, something that's, kind of game changing or anything else like that. We're starting to see reports about the G20 and all of that, that meeting coming out, and that'll continue. But there's a little bit of Fed speak, from Williams this morning, but nothing that I look at and go, wow, this is absolutely game changing, or this is something that's really going to be a big driver even today, right? And so that is something that that not uncommon to have that in the morning, but this morning is one of those mornings where I do look at it like that. Okay, I'll jump on a little bit later this morning after some things kind of tick around, or if we see some of that topping volume, I'll jump on to go and play that. If not, I'll just be kind of looking to make an index trade into the close and buying some puts on an index. It would be a day trade most likely, and I have 2 of those left, so that's not a horrible thing. And if I can make some money, or I think I can make some money out of that, that I will look to take advantage there. Thanks for hopping on. Have yourselves a great one, and we'll talk to you later. Take care.